Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at USA. You can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is the Business Talk Show. My co-host, Mr. CINI, has the day off, and filling in for him, doing a fantastic job as always, is Mr. ROLAND FRIEDL. And our guest today is the author of this book, the Payroll book, a guide for small businesses and startups. His name is Charles J. Reed. So I'm excited to have him come out. But before we bring him out, let's welcome ROLAND to the program. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hello, JACALYN. Yeah, I'm fine. Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thanks, and really appreciate you filling in for Al. And for people who haven't met you before, ROLAND is the co-host of our show, The Mallorca Connection. He's also one of our expert presenters on our Talking Heads platform. He is an elevated listener on our elevated listening team. And for a very first on this platform, starting today, he is hosting and moderating his own show for men, about men, by men. And it's a show with panelists from around the world who are men, and they will be discussing topics that are pertinent to men. So this is a big day because no one's ever hosted anything here except for me. And I'm passing the reins over to you, ROLAND. I'm very excited for this. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, JACALYN. Thank you so much, first of all, for this opportunity to set up this amazing platform. I guess it's all about, as I always say, about sharing and caring, and this is exactly what USA Global TV and Radio, together with you as the founder, does. And I'm very, very excited that you trust me and gave me the opportunity to run my own show with my gentleman panel, Wild at Heart. So I'm very, very looking forward to it, and I guess we can really have an impact, hopefully, on the men's world and indirectly on the women's world too, who are together with a man.
Yes, for sure. And ROLAND, one other thing I just want to share with our audience is, as this is the Business Talk Show, ROLAND actually left his home on the beautiful island of Mallorca, got into his incredible RV and just started driving through Europe. He is in his RV now. He will be there traveling for a year or maybe more. And wherever he goes, he takes us with him. So where in the world are you right now, ROLAND?
Well, actually, I'm in my home country in Austria because I love this place, and I found a beautiful place close to my auntie's house in the wilderness. So there's a forest behind me where I can walk the dog and have an amazing network here. So I can broadcast, I can deliver and facilitate workshops that I did actually today. I delivered a workshop for a US company with guys from the East Coast and from Hawaii, sales guys I was training. So right now I'm in Austria. I will spend a few weeks in Austria, to be honest, because it's beautiful here. Maybe go back to Germany, and then slowly in September, I will drive down through France to Spain, spend September in North Spain, and then get slowly down to South Spain and Portugal, where I will spend the winter.
Fantastic. And while I have you on Spotlight, can you please share a little bit with our audience about the work that you're doing when you're not on USA Global TV? And then we'll bring out our guest.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm the founder of Spartan Performance System. This is a training consulting company based in Switzerland, by the way. And with my team, we support organizations, international organizations, and their leadership and the executive management in not only performing better, that has meaning increasing their market share, increasing their revenue, but also give them value through helping out in improving their processes, also helping out with finding talents, how help them out to bind these talents by developing them and leading them. That's what I do with my teams and almost 3 decades. And on the other hand, I coach I always say people who would love to have the same real lifestyle that I do, traveling the world. And like the interview we had yesterday on the Mallorca Connection show with Johan, who is the CEO of Boundless Life, an amazing, I think, an amazing business opportunity for people who love to become a digital nomad and travel around the world, work from different workplaces, and together with the kids. That's their concept. Again, I support people and coach people who want to have what I call a wireless life or a boundless lifestyle. And actually, it became more and more trendy. Actually, I started it many years ago because I've always been a world traveler since, I guess 27 years, something like that. And as you mentioned, I left Mallorca. Mallorca has been my home base for the last 14 years. While I was traveling, now I'm in the RV as a so-called home base. And I started coaching people around the globe since many years. And now it became very trendy because of the pandemic, the last 2 years that everyone experienced this, more and more people had to work remotely, had back to home office, couldn't go to the office, so working remotely. And some of the people think about, when I'm working remotely, I love it. Why should I stay at home to work remotely? Maybe I travel the world. Maybe I go to a beautiful island or to the lake or to the mountains, wherever, and work from there, whatever I'm doing. So that's the other part I'm doing besides my work with men.
Thank you so much, Roland. And again, it's a pleasure to have you here. I'm excited to welcome our guest. We've interviewed him before. And as I showed you, I went and purchased his book, and I actually made a call to connect with him. And he is a certified public accountant, and he's also the founder and CEO of GetPayroll. He is an accomplished senior executive. He's an author. He is an accomplished speaker. He's actually been on Fox Business News, Biz TV Texas, and many other places. And he's a decorated United States Marine Corps Sergeant. And we are thrilled to have him here. Let's welcome Charles J. Reed to the show. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Dr. Jacqueline. Roland, pleasure to be here.
Hello,
Thanks
Charles.
for having me.
Hello.
Hi, it's so nice to have you here. As you saw, I purchased your book and really enjoy reading it. I have several questions, which we'll wait till a little bit later. So Roland is not in the United States, obviously. He's in Europe and we're here in the States. So when we're having this conversation, some of the things may apply outside the United States and some may not, correct?
Correct. I mean, the book is U.S. payroll, but business is business, whether it be the U.S. or Europe or Africa or anywhere else. Business is business, commerce is commerce.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, Charles, I would love for you to share with people who haven't met you before. We have actually 2 new radio channels since we saw you last. We've got our TV and our radio. Who is Charles Reed, and why is payroll such an important topic for business owners that they might not even be aware that it should be important?
Well, I'm a Midwestern boy. I grew up in Iowa, graduated from high school, wasn't ready for college, joined the Marine Corps, spent 4 years in service, 2 years overseas, including a combat tour in Vietnam. Came back, got married the love of my life. She had 5 children when I married her. I claim insanity, but we were married for 45 years before she passed. Went to college, got my degrees, my master's, sat for and passed my CPA exam, went to work in the corporate world, as so many of us do. Figured out after a while that I was never going to get where I wanted to be because I didn't have the political skills in the corporate world in America. I was unwilling to stab people in the back and toss them off the ladder. So if I was going to run a business, I was going to have to start my own. Ruth and I started this just over 30 years ago and continue with it. It started as an accounting / payroll. I've sold off the accounting and kept the payroll, sold off the accounting to my partner. And payroll is important. In the U.S., 75% of all federal revenue comes through the payroll systems. So it's huge amounts of money, huge. And so anytime Congress wants to tweak how revenue comes in, they tweak payroll. So it's constantly changing. Everybody has their own opinion of things. There was a big change on independent contractors that the Trump administration had proposed. And after the Biden administration came in, the day before the rule was to go into place, they revoked it and they're going to issue a new one. at some point. I don't know when. They don't know when. So it's a constantly changing thing. With the pandemic, of course, PPP, ERTC, a whole bunch of things have been running through that affect payroll. And it's been very interesting the last few years. So it comes down to you don't know what you don't know. And you really, if you don't know payroll and the IRS and so on, it's very hard for you to deal with them when they make a mistake, and they make millions of them every year.
Thank you for that, Charles. And a question I have for people who are outside the United States, the IRS, the Internal Revenue Service, is a collection agency of sorts, would you say?
It is. The IRS doesn't write the law. The law is written by Congress. IRS is tasked with enforcing the law and collecting the taxes that then is spent by Congress in their wisdom, whatever. So yeah, they're our collection agency. They're there to enforce the laws and to collect the taxes and the revenue.
And
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
I have a question, Charles. I guess that in the US, the same trend like in Europe, we have after the pandemic, more and more people rethink their life to start a single entrepreneur as an independent contractor. I guess it's the same in the US that more people starting working independently, so that the figures are going up. My question is it the same in the US like in Europe when you are single or a single entrepreneur or an independent contractor? When you just have one client, when you only work for one client, that you're not anymore an independent contractor, that you have to be on the payroll as an employee? Is it the same in the US?
Well, in the US, it's complex. It starts with 20 common law rules, which come from English common law. And it depends on control and independence and financial dependency and so on. If you work for one client and you work at their beck and call, and they're your only source of income, and you can't substitute somebody else to do the work, you're probably not an independent contractor. You're probably an employee. But if you're working with a single company, if you can structure your contract properly, legally, you may be able to retain independent contractor status. It's very complex. And in the end, it comes down to whatever the judge says, if you push it that far. So there's a lot of moving parts that you have to be aware of, and the circumstances change. But there are a lot more gig workers, a lot more independent contractors. It has become a big thing, particularly with remote work, obviously becoming feasible. We had to do it for ourselves, for our own company. And now all of our people work part of the time from home. It's just become a thing. So that's becoming more and more. And with that ability to work independently in an RV anywhere in the world, as long as you have internet connection, it's becoming much more common, as you're a prime example of.
Yeah. So your advice is to a single entrepreneur or independent contractor, getting contact with an expert like you to set up a proper contract so they don't get any trouble.
Exactly. You don't know what you don't know. It's a very complex thing. I lecture on it. I write on it. I have a section in the book on it. All these things. So if you're going to do that, particularly if you're going to work for one person, one company, one assignment, get advice from an expert about how to structure it if you want to be an independent contractor or if you want to be an employee, vice versa. And there's advantages and disadvantages to both, of course, but expert advice.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Charles, if we are looking to, as a solo entrepreneur, if we're looking to grow our business and we don't want to bring on any employees, but we want to have contractors, are there any things that are major red flags that you would say, okay, if this isn't covered, or if you do put this in the contract, it could be perceived as this is an employee? Yeah,
a couple of things. First of all, set time. In other words, you have to be at the office at 9 a.m. and you don't get to leave until 5. You're probably an employee. You can't do any work for anybody else. You can only work for me. You are probably an employee. those two things right off the bat are going to be real telling points.
Okay, good to know. So if you have to be there at a certain time, that makes sense. And if you, yeah, I mean, these things seem to be common sense. So that's great to know. So Charles, in your experience, you've been working with business owners, and I know that you also have been able to win some court cases for people who, I guess, were going up against the IRS, which is a scary thing, but you take the fear away, don't you?
Well, I like to think that the IRS, dealing with them, to me, and I steal the phrase from an attorney that did some work for me, it's kind of like playing high stakes poker with somebody else's money. It becomes a game, and if you know the rules and you know the players and you know how to do it, it can become a lot of fun. I find myself in a situation that most of the time I know more than my opponent does. And that gives me the advantage. It's not being a civil servant, having a profit motive. I've studied and worked and learned, and I've been in this field for as a professional for 30 years, and I've dealt in it beyond that for another 20. So in many cases, it's fairly easy to get what I want out of the service.
I love that. Thank you. Another follow-up question I have from before is, when you're evaluating whether or not this person is an employee or if they're an independent contractor, does the way in which they get paid make a difference? So in other words, if they get paid straight commission, they're definitely an independent contractor.
No, they're not definitely. That's just one aspect of the various rules. And when you're dealing with the common law rules, which are the basis of all the regulations and all the court cases, it's a preponderance. Now, if that person has to be there from 9 to 5, they're not allowed to work for anybody else. They can't supply anybody else to work for them. They have to do it exactly like you say, but you only pay them on strict commission. They're an employee in all probability. On the other hand, you can have a person that you pay on commission, and they may be an independent contractor. So it's the totality of all the aspects of the relationship between the employer and the worker that determine this. It's not normally one thing.
Mm-hmm. And does it make any difference if where the two parties are located, in which state of the US? Does it make any difference, or is it just a federal stuff?
It's federal statute. It's FLSA,
Okay.
Federal Labor Standards Act, and it all falls under that rubric of rules and regulations. So it frankly doesn't matter if they're a U.S. citizen anywhere in the world. They may or may not be an employee depending upon how it works. Now, if they're a foreign national, it's a whole different thing.
Okay.
Non-resident, if they're living in Europe and working for you, it's a whole different ballgame.
Thank you. Another question I have, and then I want to get to the book and also to your website, is if you are drawing up a contract for an employee, let's say you're doing it yourself because you're a solo entrepreneur. Let's say you're Roland or you're me, and you're drawing up a contract for someone, and you literally put everything you possibly think you could put in there. You are not an employee. Will that hold up in court, or is that still subject to interpretation?
That will not hold up. You cannot choose to be an independent contractor or an employee, nor as the employer can you choose to say you are an employee or you are an independent contractor. That is meaningless. It all falls down to the common law rules and the regulations and the interpretations and the court cases.
Fascinating. So get in touch with Charles. Don't make decisions or draw up contracts on your own. It's the bottom line. Let's go into go ahead.
75% of all U.S. businesses misclassify employees. either as independent contractors versus employees, or as subject to overtime or not subject to overtime. So it is a major topic of concern for the Department of Labor. They have forged memos of understanding with all of the states on independent contractor status. It is something that they are going after as part of the tax gap. So it is a very, very topical thing in the U.S. at the moment, and something that if you do it wrong, you're probably going to run into kickback from the IRS or the Department of Labor or the state.
Okay. Charles, as a European, since many years I've been thinking about going to the US, starting a company, because it's a free country, everything is possible. But when I listen to the US, I think, oh, there's a lot of regulation over there.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in payroll that you have to be careful of. And I deal with small businesses and entrepreneurs and established businesses all the time. And the analogy I use, and I've used it many a time, is when I grew up, Pele was the world's best soccer player, maybe the best soccer player of all time. Fabulous athlete, still alive. But if you put him in a New York Yankees uniform at second base, he's lost. He doesn't know the rules, doesn't know the field, doesn't know the players, doesn't know the plays. The thought of picking up a ball with his hands and throwing it is just the antithesis of what he does for a living. So if you take an entrepreneur or a manufacturer, a chef or a prophet or an Indian chief, whatever, and say, you're wonderful at what you do, you make a great living, your clients love you, now deal with the IRS and the problems they create. They're Pele at second base. They don't know what they don't know. They may be wonderful at what they do, as Pele was in soccer, but they're lost when they deal with the IRS. That's why you need an expert.
Great question. And what happens if you work for a company that's headquartered in the United States, but you are now going to be working in another country for that company?
Are you a U.S. citizen or are you a non-citizen?
Let's go with both first. Let's look at both.
If you're a U.S. citizen, you're subject to everything: withholding, taxes, filings, everything as if you were in Dallas, Texas. It doesn't matter where in the world you're at. If you're a U.S. citizen working for a U.S. company, all the same rules apply. Now, if you're a foreign national, then you've got a whole different situation, and you're probably going to be paid a gross check, and your tax situation in your country is your problem. Because if you're in Austria, obviously Austria can't come to Dallas and tell me I've got to withhold Austrian taxes and deposit them for this guy. But I'm sure the government there will want their cut. So it's going to be on you to make sure that you are in compliance with the laws of the nation that you're in.
It just seems there's so much to know, and you know all of it. So how have you managed to keep all this information? Because some of it is so detailed and specific. How do you remember all of it?
Well, it's my field. I work in it every day. Now, I'm a CPA, which I'm a certified public accountant, but there's areas of accounting and taxes that I don't work in. If you want advice on, transfer pricing for multinational operations, I'm going to send you over to one of the major worldwide accounting firms. That's not what I do. If you want partnership taxes, I'm going to refer you off to somebody else. There's a lot of things I don't do. I concentrate on U.S. employment taxes, and I read on it. I get newsletters from the IRS weekly, several a week. I read the trades. I write on it. I study it. I'm involved in case law. I represent clients to the U.S. tax court. This is what I do for a living. So I've gotten pretty good at it over the time.
That's amazing. But if you think about it, there are also people who do things for a long time and they don't really like what they're doing. They're not passionate about it. And you seem to still have this incredible fire in you for it.
if you find something you like to do, a job that you love, a profession that you love, you never work a day in your life. And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy the aspects of it. I enjoy fighting the Internal Revenue Service. I enjoy representing my clients. I enjoy protecting them from the rapacious tax man. So, and I've got a great staff that takes care of me and my clients, and I take care of them in return. And so, I enjoy coming to work every day. I'm an old man. I'm 72 years old. My staff wants to know when I'm going to retire, and I tell them, one of these days, you're going to come in and find me dead at my desk, and I've retired.
Well, I just love your energy and spunk. We're going to take a quick break, and then when we come back, I have your website pulled up. I'd love to walk through that, and then I'd love to have you read from your book if you'd like to do that.
Okay.
All right, fantastic. So today's clip, I think, is really interesting. We actually acquired it today from Ian Pelham Turner and Helena Shard, our expert correspondents over in the UK for the United Kingdom show. This is the new movie trailer for the new Tom Cruise film. And Tom Cruise has been spending some time over there in the United Kingdom. It's obviously a big time with the Queen's birthday and her reign. I think she's been on the throne for 70 years, which is amazing. And Tom Cruise has been over there. So this was just released. It's called Top Gun Maverick, new official trailer. Let's take a look and then we'll be right back.
Here we go. In 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back. I got so caught up in that clip, I almost forgot to bring us back. This is USA Global TV and Radio, and our show today is the Business Talk Show. Al CINI has the day off, and filling in for him is Mr. Roland FRIEDL. Let's welcome him back. Hello, welcome.
Hi.
And our special guest, Charles J. Reed, and he is the author of this book, the Payroll book. And we are going to have some more questions for him and walk through his website and have him do a reading of his book. So let's welcome him back to the program. Welcome back.
Pleasure to be back. Thank you, Dr. JACALYN.
Thank you. Did you gentlemen enjoy the clip?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Maybe a movie I have to go see.
He never ages, does he, Tom Cruise? It's incredible.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Wonders the modern makeup.
I know. Well, Charles, I have your website here. Let me pull it up. And I would like to just walk through it so people are aware of all of the things that you and your team offer. Look at this free copy of the Payroll book. What do you want to share about that?
Well, if they'll go there and give us the information, we will send them, as long as supplies last, a free book. I mean, very seriously, it's kind of selfish of us, because if they're interested enough to want the book and to order it, they're probably a potential client. So I'd love for them to have it. And if they can get into payroll, and if it helps them, wonderful. That was the idea of the book in the first place. And if after reading it, they're just overwhelmed, well, my phone number's in the book.
Thank you for that. And I have to share, I was very impressed with the packaging and the way that it was delivered, and what's this called? The bookmark, and also some other really great information. So kudos to your team that's sending that out.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so let's start off at the beginning. So tell us what we can expect to find here on the site.
Well, we're a full-service payroll bureau. We provide payroll and associated services that go with that, and we're expanding on that every day. We just added a new one this last week. but we provide timekeeping and we provide HR services. We can help with benefit selection. We don't sell the benefits, we'll just help you with it. We also have added just last week, we are the first payroll service bureau in the country to offer crypto payroll. So our employers, our clients can offer their employees the ability to get part of their payroll, there you go, turned into Bitcoin automatically. I'm having a piece of my check actually go through the system every payroll, and I'm building up a Bitcoin bankroll. So that's one of the new things we're able to do.
Congratulations. That's fascinating. I
Cool.
haven't heard of that yet. That's really cool.
We sent out the press release last Wednesday, and we are the first payroll company in the country to be able to offer that to our clients.
It's really amazing. Okay, so you've got payroll, timekeeping. Now, what about HR? Someone says, well, I've heard of HR, human resources, but what kind of services do you provide there?
We have several levels, and it can be just a website, or it can be actually someone you can talk to, depending upon your needs. Frankly, the HR needs for a small business of 4 or 5 people are not that great normally. When you get to a couple hundred people, you have an HR professional on staff. So this is a service that allows you to get HR consulting and help and forms, handbooks, which are really necessary in the U.S., employee handbooks, to be able to do this inexpensively without having to go out and spend $60,000 or $70,000 a year for an HR professional on staff.
Charles, can you tell us how we can grow to have 200 employees and do it quickly?
No. if I could do that, that would be my next book, and it would be a bestseller.
Okay, let's move on. Anything here you want to mention?
We're in the cloud, so the timekeeping can be in the cloud, or it can be a clock there on premises, including biometric clocks and so on. But we also, since we're in the cloud and have that ability, our clients can enter their payroll information from anywhere. We have a client that about twice a year enters payroll from the beach at Waikiki outside the Starbucks. He uses their Wi-Fi on his laptop and does payroll. So it's available 24 hours a day around the world. We also offer a free trial for new clients, of course. If they'd like to try it, we give them a freebie to see if they like it. I don't think we've had anybody at the end of 2 months go away. So it's a way to give them something to get them into the system.
I really like this website. It's easy to follow and it's attractive. It catches your eye. How about this PTO tracking?
And then, well, we can track PTO in multiple ways. So vacation, we can accrue time off on a weekly basis. Whatever way you want to determine the time off, we can do that for you. And all of these things are included in our price. Some of our competitors will nickel and dime you. If you want another report, there's a fee for every payroll, and so on and so forth. If you want to add an employee, there's a fee. If you want to terminate an employee, there's a fee. They just nickel and dime you on everything. We don't believe in that. Here's your price, and it basically includes everything. So if you want another report, we just turn it on and you get it. Why would we charge for that? I don't understand that, but that's how we do it. So all this is included in the system.
Well, that's definitely putting the client first. Okay. What about here? What do we
putting the client first is so important. I want loyal clients. I want clients where if we screw up, they go, well, that's okay, and they keep working with us because it'll happen. Happy clients can get unhappy and leave. Loyal clients don't leave. So it's important to us and we have clients that have been with us for 30 years. We have clients where we're dealing with the kids that have inherited the firm from their parents. So, this is, you become friends with your clients. You've been doing their payroll, you've been in their pocketbook for 30 years, every 2 weeks, you're kind of friends. So, that's how we believe. Okay, here, obviously, U.S.-based customer support. We don't have our support based in other countries where it's less expensive, but you have people who don't speak idiomatic English and are maybe working in the middle of the night and other things. So it's U.S.-based. You call here, you'll get one of our staff people. You can talk to the same person over and over and over. You're not going to be talking to a call center. I spent 3 years, the IRSAC, I spent 3 years on the IRS Advisory Council, working directly with the IRS, solving their problems and how they interface with that. So I know a lot of people at the IRS. I've met them, I deal with them. I've got a lot of insight into how they work. USTCP, I'm a U.S. Tax Court practitioner. And what that tells you is that I can actually represent clients in U.S. Tax Court without being an attorney. It's a very special designation. There's a couple of hundred of us in the country total. It requires an examination of the U.S. Tax Court in Washington, and it's only given every 2 years. So they only met about 10 of us every couple of years. So if all else fails, I file a petition in tax court for a cost of $60, and we get a whole nother bite of the apple for my clients. And we've been very, very successful with that, because when you do that, you deal with a different level of people at the IRS. You deal with their very, very best. And on top of that, 95% of all U.S. tax court cases are settled before court. The IRS really doesn't want to go to court. So if you can get them into tax court and file a petition, then your chances of getting a decent settlement go way up.
Fantastic news. Thank you. Thanks for sharing all of this with us. As we come to the end of our show, which I can't even believe, I'd love to spotlight you and have you read an excerpt from your book, if you would, please.
Oh, okay. Well, let's flip to something here. Volunteers. The Fair Labor Standards Act defines employment very broadly: to suffer or permit to work. The Supreme Court of the United States ruled, and the Department of Labor has regulated, that in the case of individuals serving as unpaid volunteers in various community services, quote, individuals who volunteer or donate their services, usually on a part-time basis for public service, religious, or humanitarian objectives, are not an employee. However, you can't do that for a commercial business. So you can be a volunteer for a community organization or a church or the government, but you can't be a volunteer for a private company. Just one little tip.
Interesting. Interesting. So, Charles, I'm going to say again, I know you and I exchanged messages, but I'm definitely getting on your schedule again. So just as a small business owner, there's so many things I don't know. So why am I going to take a stab in the dark and Google it when I can talk to you and I can hire you?
Dr. JACALYN, for you and for everybody else, my phone number is 972-353-0000. I love getting phone calls.
I love that number. I commented on that before. Such a great number.
It's the only good thing GTE ever did for me.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Charles, I'm going to spotlight you again, and any other information that you want to give people in addition to, we've got the website, your Instagram, and on the promo, we've got all your other links, but anything else you want to close out with, please, you have the floor.
Well, I love business. I love dealing with business people, and I love dealing with entrepreneurs and small business people. And my tip to them, being one, is I steal from Bill Gates. People will overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in a decade. Business is a long-term arrangement. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Success takes time.
Excellent. I really like that.
Lovely.
Well, thank you for another fabulous interview. I really appreciate it. And again, I hope you'll come back and see us, and I will be calling you again. So we're going to close
Look
out now
forward
for
to it.
our, thank you, for our men's show that is coming up. So that's all we have for now. All three of us are just going to say goodbye for now, and we'll be back shortly. Please do reach out to Charles. Get his book. Where can we get this book? On your website and anywhere else?
thepayrollbook.com, as well as GetPayroll, and it's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and places where the fine books are sold.
All right. Thank you again. Thanks, Roland. Thanks, Charles. Thanks to all of you.
Thank
We'll
you.
be right back.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, Charles.
Bye.
I love your
pleasure.
passion. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye.